It's pretty wild in this consumerist, materialist world how there's still a lot of options for products that are not even on the market. I guess most of the ones I've thought of are just musician things. So this is more of a video for musicians, I guess. But there's so many standard items that are just, I don't know, there's this conventional nature about, it's like an amp is usually just 1 or 2 or 4 speakers, and they're all the same. Like, there could be something unconventional, like 2 different speakers, like a 10-inch and a 12-inch, all in the same cabinet, and each speaker with the best frequencies or the chosen frequencies for that speaker, to be designated for it. Stuff like that. And then, like, how could you make it better? Put a lithium battery in it and make it be able to charge and have it be portable. I've been looking for a good looper pedal lately to be able to do live looping, and all the pedals have 1 or 2 buttons with a few channels, and I've always struggled with those multi-button ones, and they're just so counterintuitive to me. If I were to make a looper, I would have like the 4 buttons. The first one would be to like record and pause, or record and delete, or no, it'd be to record, and it would only record, like it would record a second track, and then there'd be a second button that would play pause, and then there'd be a third button that would delete, and then a 4th button that would toggle between different looping tracks, or like stations. So you can have, I don't know, maybe have a bank of 10 different loops in the memory, and then have that, and then you can access everything, and you don't have to like double tap a pedal, or it's just easier to have like those options just right there at your toe tips. But yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of products. There's not like a whole lot of lamps out there. I guess outside of like musician gear, there's not a whole lot of lamps. Like, to get a cool aesthetic lamp, other than like Instagram and their Instagram basic whatever Instagram lights. I actually have one. There's just not very many options in the store. There's not like touch lamps anymore. Those things were great. I did order one online, and it's just like super basic, and like, I guess I don't mind the minimal nature of it, but they could make it more customizable, like to be able to put a salt lamp thing over it instead of like your basic bright pink or blue or whatever. There's just, with all the products out there, it's just crazy. It's like, I would, in like an idealist, consumerist kind of world, instead of advertisements and all that bullshit that just like steals and rudely wastes our time and just gets in our way, I would have a database, and every business with every product would be in that database. There could even be like 3, so that there's not like one with a monopoly, and people can choose any of those to look up any kind of product, and this search engine will have, whatever keywords, and totally make advertising obsolete, and people can just look for what they need. They don't need to be like, oh, do you want this? Oh, do you want this? Oh, do you want this? Because that's just like, we don't have time for that, and that's not, you don't want to be watching that kind of stuff and having someone just put all kinds of things in your face. Like, that is one of the, like you're not using your brain. You're just like, what do I want? Do I want this or do I want that? Like, I deserve things and more stuff. Like, we're already so saturated in that environment. We need to, like, like somehow we need to boycott advertising. Like, it's such an insipid, like, oh my god, it's just like the most trash part of our, like, consumerism. It's just everyone throwing stuff in your face. It's like such poor taste. And there's got to be a world without that, you know. Maybe this one in 50 years, or a couple hundred years after we're extinct or something. I don't know. I doubt the Archons or whoever are in charge of this place, which I am wagering that there are other beings in charge of this place. There always has. That's why when we get to that, like, disclosure or whatever, it never happens, because then we'll find out they've been here the whole time. And it's like, oh, major trust issues, red flags with whatever these beings are that just manipulate us behind the scenes, and for whatever fucking reason they do that. And like subvert and make us forget and limit our perceptions to choose what we would really want to choose. You know, they just have us playing these little games for whatever reason, and they're just testing us like for some science experiment. I'm willing to wager that's what it is, and it's a lot of conspiracy theorists, but let's just say I don't even like conspiracy theory. Obviously that was made up after what's his name got assassinated, Eisenhower, or not Eisenhower, you know, god, why can't I think of his name right now? The really popular president, you know. God, it'll come to me after this video. But it's more of a scandal is what I would say. It's a scandal, that's a better word for it. It's like a secret thing that's illegal, that's not supposed to be. And as long as it's a secret, no one knows about it, so no one can expose it or be like, yo, everyone, we gotta just say no to this bullshit. And that's in the ethos. That's like, there's a lot of conspiracy, like whatever, like you want to call those nuts, but you know, they're probably onto something. There is something to be said for intuition, and then it's kind of obvious that a lot of those people who are like rational, like realists or whatever, and only believe what like science can prove, like they're kind of blocking themselves from the intuition of what's going on, because our intuition tells us more than what our senses tell us, and like what we can perceive. And I think that's important to recognize, because we are pretty limited here, and there is corruption, and it's like, what is, like, we need to get to the source of that. We can't just abide by what's happening and continue to perpetuate it. We're vying for change, you know, and it's very slow to progress. But I'm here for it. I'm here for the progression of our species, and for as long as my time embodied in this species of human. That sounds like a very alien thing to say, but I also feel very alien because I think about these things and a lot of people don't, at least as far as like the people in my circles. There's not a whole lot of people that talk about this kind of stuff, and as far as like asking the questions, like what's going on, like why are there so many predictable things in this world that are not predictable, like are not good predictable things, are just like, it's like things fall apart and fall through, and there's deal breakers, and there's like always people end up getting annoyed and jaded and like all that stuff. That like we should be able to sustain our joy through things, because I guarantee you, if you were able to be there, you'd be like, I don't ever want to come down. And why would you? Because you can explore so much more when you're more aware and perceive more and remember more. And even though you go through challenges at times, you have the internal like impetus to sustain yourself and not break under pressure, you know, like so many of us do in life when it just is too much and it's insufferable and we're just like, fuck it, and we break down and we do things out of character. That's how it goes here. It's predictable that it goes that way. And we need to break out of that cycle. And I think it will happen. I think it will inevitably happen. And like I've said in other videos, if this is all possible, there is a better version of it out there. I mean, with all the possibilities in the cosmos and just how vast it is, this little world out where we live, far away from any other world that we can see or perceive in our galaxy or any other galaxy for that matter, we're just way out on our own island. Like, there are other worlds out there with other living beings with sentience, and more sentience than what we embody in this limited plane.